Wow, a lot to unravel now. And here to respond to all of that is Scott Uehlinger, former CIA operations officer. I saw you were thinking a lot of different things as all those reports were going by. What strikes you first?
Well, I think the first thing to consider is that under this, the assertive Trump administration, for once the Russians their bluff is being called. I believe most of their actions in the past 8 years have been acts of bluff because they knew that the Obama administration would not stand up to them. Now, however, they're having to face some stark realities.
Does it strike you as plausible that they knew ahead of time and even assisted, as the AP report seems to indicate, they even assisted in the attack that happened last week?
I mean, if the intelligence community is reporting that, I presume they have proper sourcing for that. But it does rather seem incredible that Russia would further risk eroding its image on the world stage, because all the recent press about these chemical attacks have not established the image of Russia. You know, I think even the Russian people are going to start reacting to this, because I don't believe that they really want to be lumped in with partners such as Syria and Iran for that long. So would you
think they just believed they wouldn't get caught, no one would care, no one would notice and make a big deal?
Exactly. Probably something like that. And the fact that, you know, like I said, Russia has been relying on bluff. The past, for instance, the mass demonstrations we had across Russia in the perhaps 2 weeks ago, and also the terrorist attack in St. Petersburg show that Putin also has some domestic issues he has to deal with. I think that this conference with Tillerson, the Russians will be more conciliatory than they appear to be on the world stage. On the world stage, they're outraged and they, you know, there's a lot of rhetoric out there. But I think behind closed doors, they will be a little bit more reasonable.
Right, because the headline that a lot of people are trying to make this afternoon is this idea that Putin isn't going to meet with Rex Tillerson. So that tells you something out of the gate, that he's getting snubbed. You don't buy that.
Right. I mean, that's a little, you know, diplomatic telegraphing, I think. But I think behind closed doors, Lavrov will understand that now the adults are in charge and that Russia is going to be called to account for its actions. And with the Russian economy not being the best right now, and Russian forces, I believe, somewhat overextended in places like Syria and Ukraine, the Russians may be a little bit more willing to deal in some sort of face-saving gesture.
What does that mean, willing to deal?
Perhaps the Russians won't respond to American demands regarding Syria, but the Russians may find a way to, you know, if the United States gives them a diplomatic out, they may find a way to perhaps reduce their presence there, but in a way that isn't embarrassing to them, that doesn't cause them to lose face. That may happen as perhaps Putin will reach the calculus that what Russia is losing in Syria is much worse than what it stands to gain by support of the Assad regime.